Hello, this is Kara from Kara Tarot with an unusual unboxing today. I am using this as my unboxing for the Infinite Door Tarot, which is new to me. Several people have showed it already. And at first I thought, oh, I don't need that. I have the Dali deck, which is one of my favorites. And it is the deck that if there were an emergency and I had to run out the door and grab a deck because it might be the last time I ever have a deck, this is the one I would choose. I know that's not what I said in the Only One deck, but that was a different kind of thing where you had a long time to think about it. But if I could only pick one and it was spur of the moment, I know exactly where this is and I know that that was the one I would choose. The other deck is a deck that I also love very much, which is the Japaridze Tarot. All were full-size paintings by Surreal painter Nino Japaridze, whose style has shifted since she painted the works for this deck. But at the time, she was one of the few living female artists working in the Surreal art form. Now, Dali, always Surreal, actually created this deck in the 1970s, and this is probably one of the earliest collage decks as well. And there are a lot of collage decks that have a surreal feeling to them, but these are the ones that I have that are by painters who are, or artists who are surrealists. The artwork in this deck is by Chris Manicki. Well, and interesting that there's no information about the artist Chris Manicki in here. Also interesting to note, the book is unbound. The book does not have a binding at the edge. It's interesting. It's one more thing about this deck that is interesting. So I think I'm just going to start by going through the deck. I wanted you to be able to see. Now, obviously, I have edged this. I edged it in orange. And I've edged this in blue. I don't edge many of my decks, so that will tell you where these rank for me. This also, I think I said, was a gift from my brother and his wife that I had requested. So first I'll just start by going through the cards. Unless something really jumps out at me, you know, I like to do silent flip throughs, so you can focus on them. So we have the Strength and the Justice in different positions. So let me find that. So Justice is 11 in this deck. strength is 8 in this deck. I just reordered them so that you could see them together. I got out of sequence here. one of my favorite Three of Coins cards ever. I'll back up and say I don't understand that for the Three of Coins at all. Don't get it. Okay, so hopefully that gives you a little point of comparison in terms of the surreal artwork in this deck. And now I'll talk about specifics a little bit. The majors, I think, are very strong. And interesting, like this colorful tower. One of the things that strikes me going through it is how much of it is this desert landscape. Now, as we were going through it, I thought, well, this is the fire suit, and that is the extreme of fire, would be the desert landscape. And then we get into cups, and we're still in the desert. And cracked faces, and cacti, and that now we get some water. There, but again, back to the desert. I don't understand this as the cup suit, and even the thrones are still. That's the 9, okay. It's only when we get the court cards that we get more water. And we get octopi there. So that's a choice I don't understand. I think this is a fascinating combination of the sword with snakes, which reminds me of that moment in I'm blanking on the movie, the Moses movie, that's shown every Easter, where he throws down the wand and it turns into a snake. But again, we have this largely desert landscape. I'm not a desert fan, so that would be probably one reason I notice it so much. And now here we are in Pentacles, and there we've got water. Why wasn't that there in the cups? And then I don't understand this as the Three of Pentacles at all. Yes, there are pentacles there. I don't, any of the, this one will definitely be giving me new meanings, because I don't see the normal meanings in that. This one I feel is, and there's that balance here between being quite traditional and then not. we have the subjugated person here. This, obviously, very traditional for the 6 of coins. And then the 7 of coins, I thought this would have made a better 9 of coins. Okay, here I am with my, you know me, and the 7, 8, and 9 of coins. 7, 8, and 9. I thought this would have made a better 9 of coins. This, takes away everything that I understand about the 8 of Pentacles. So let me look up what they say about it. A dreamer blows perfect bubbles from a golden wand, each a fleeting rainbow of possibility and care. Upright meaning patience, mastery, dedication, high standards, knowledge, learning. I don't see that in this image. Reversed, thoughtlessness, lack of care, laziness, underachievement, mediocrity. I don't get that either. So I think that's a real, to me that one's a real fail, and I think you're going to know that I'm not crazy about this. My favorite card in the deck, not crazy about this interpretation. A headless figure sits on a lush carpet of woven pentagrams at the edge of the water, greeting the approaching winged fish without a care in the world. Upright, luxury, abundance, cloistered mentality, material security, self-sufficiency. Reversed, perfectionism, dissatisfaction, lack of resources, codependence. Well, those reversed meanings aren't necessarily what I normally think of for this card anyway, and I don't get them from this. So, you know me, I always say if the 7, 8, and 9, if I'm not on board with them, I have difficulty with the deck. 7, 8 of 9 of Pentacles. And obviously there is the harvest significance here, but I could even have seen this as the 7 and this as the 9, and I might switch them. Because in the 7, you have that moment of you're evaluating things, and you get that moment to pause, and you can the pause to look back and evaluate on what you've done and plan for the future and dream. That's all there for the 7. And the 9 is the time when you're, yeah, I'm definitely renumbering these if I use this deck much. The 9 is the time when you are appreciating the bounty of all of your hard work. Yeah. And then the 10 of Pentacles. The Earth suit is my favorite, so making it dry and a desert doesn't win me over. All of these, look, they're all in the desert. Yes, they've got leaves around the throne, but they're all in this desert landscape. I have trouble using decks. I was just talking to Tammy Pie about how I really have difficulty with the way Robert M. Place depicts his pentacles, and it makes the deck work for me. This may end up becoming work for me. Let's just for a moment take a look for a comparison. Here, this 9 of Pentacles, we have some of the traditional things. We have the parrot that we look for. We have the luxury and opulence. In the 8, we have, now we don't necessarily have the application of yourself to your work. Well, yes, we do. We have a painter here. We have a painter looking at his painting with the model looking over his shoulder. So I'm always on board with a depiction of an artist in that. And the 7, we do have the garden bounty and the period of rest. Much much easier to glean the traditional meaning from those. And then in this deck, first of all, the pentacles are called gardens, so you know I'm on board with that. And then we have the Seven of Gardens, which reminds me of the one I was just showing you, the figure with his head in the clouds, or no head in the clouds. The Seven of Gardens with the fruits of the labor, but also the time to dream. 8, applying yourself to your chosen field of interest. Here it looks like alchemy. And then the 9 of Gardens, this opulence and abundance and feeling of appreciating what you've accomplished. Yeah, I get so. Maybe that's part of the reason I wasn't as drawn to this. I do really like surreal art, though. So, well, you know, I don't have to have a hard and fast decision right now. I'll have to work with it some and see how I feel. Comparing it to these two might not be quite fair because I like them both so much. But life isn't fair. Oh, I didn't say. The cardstock is a little, it's interesting. It's a little cardboardy. I'm going to shuffle the majors, so let me go ahead and do that, because I am going to do my Arcana Battle with the majors. So yeah, it shuffles nicely. It's a little closer to Oracle weight, but it's also closer to Oracle size. It is this more square size than you can see compared to the other decks. Still a rectangle, but closer to square. Still, all 3 of these decks are larger than normal tarot size. And so, once again, Arcana Battle, you put down 2 cards, you're trying to respond just knee-jerk to the imagery, not to the name of the card or the meaning of the card. You're trying to just take in the feeling that you get from the imagery. You keep the one you like better of the 2, and you keep going, and the point is to go through it very quickly. This was begun online by El Bateleur a couple years ago now, and I just do it a lot because I like it as a way to get to know new decks. Oh, that was that. Good. I knew this Temperance card was the last one left because I hadn't seen it yet. And I really do like this Temperance card. It is, of course, important and hard to miss the reference to the Cups suit here in this version of the Temperance card. You will notice the coloration is very kind of pastel. but kind of rainbow pastel, not, not full, vibrant colors with a lot. They're still clear. The images are still clear. They're just, yeah, I mean, they don't have the density of these colors, for example. That's neither here nor there, just an observation. I think the majors are I like them much more than the minors, but that's because there's so much desert imagery in the minors. I haven't seen anything about why it would be so strongly influenced by desert imagery. Perhaps if there were more about the artist, we would know that. So they're fascinating images. So the High Priestess and the Temperance being my deck interview with this deck, or my first introductory deck interview with this deck, is wonderful for me. It definitely, being surreal, it's going to fire on all of these High Priestess cylinders. It's going to use imagination and intuitive information and new ways to look at intuitive information. Interesting that the High Priestess has a pomegranate. That's usually an Empress thing. Now I'm looking for the Empress. Yeah, the Empress has fungi. Well, certainly if you think that children in the womb are parasites growing off of the mother's body, that would work. I know some people that think that, especially in the fashion world, and she does come from the fashion world. And then, so the High Priestess and Temperance with these wonderful multicolored cups and these hands balancing them. So we have the balance, we have the blooming, we have the refreshment of the water, we have stars in the water. So everything that even includes some of the hope. Lots of star imagery here. So they'll be interesting. And I just noticed there's a bug in that hand on the Ace of Wands. So definitely there will be interesting things. And it's possible that all of the desert imagery in the cards is an homage to Dali and how much he used in his surreal paintings of the desert imagery. So that's possible too. I mean, it's if you are working in the field of surrealism, he cuts a large swath and is very influential. One of the things I was going to say about his deck is I recently saw an interview with him where he said his art has no meanings attached to it. Now, clearly, in creating a tarot deck, he had to change that. So this would be another reason why this would have been a fascinating project for him, because not only was he incorporating collage elements of other great works of art and his own painting versions of other great works of art, and then adding his more modern style to them, but each one of these had to have a meaning. He had to add the elements to give it the prescribed meaning. And he did. He put in the traditional elements. So that was just a side note on Dali and how, because I just saw that interview yesterday with him where Helen Hayes was asking him what meaning he wants people to have when they look at his art? And he said, there is no meaning. It's a painting. Basically, he had a much more verbose answer, but basically, no, he does not ascribe a meaning to his works. And I don't know whether I believe that entirely. It might have a meaning to him, but he didn't want to state a meaning. Probably the titles of his works were the closest he came to giving them a meaning, because then that gave people a framework that they were looking at that picture with. So, for the love of 3 surreal decks, and an introduction and flip through of The Infinite Door. Let me close by reading what the definition that she has for temperance is. A trio of hands sprouting from water lilies hold stacked fountains aloft, and the waters spring between their cups. Symbols of the senses are scattered about the scene. Upright, fill that cup with balance, serenity, water harmony, the union of dualities. Particularly lucky in questions of love, temperance is about plus and, not either or thinking. Maintain moderation and patience, seek the middle path, and be a peacekeeper. Reversed, it's time to moderate. Above we see plus and, but reversed signifies you're stuck in either or cycles of heady fulfillment and monastic restriction. Seek balance, collaboration, and communication instead of defaulting to conflict and rejection. So I like the way it's written, and it's written in a very conversational style, which is really approachable. So this has gotten a lot of press. I think this deck, I think I read that she has worked for Vogue. Interesting, there isn't much bio here of her either. I think I saw somewhere that she has worked for Vogue, but definitely this has been written up, this deck has been written up in Vogue. So it's going to get a wider swath of the market and more attention than the traditional tarot launch, because they don't all, it's not the first deck to get noticed in a fashion magazine, but and the fact that it's surreal art does make it, give it kind of a tone in terms of artistic seriousness, and so that may contribute to its success in terms of sales too. It's a lovely production. The box you saw is a drawer box. It's a beautiful production overall. And I am officially welcoming it to my 3 loves here. This is Cara from Cara Tarot. I hope it speaks to you too. And if not, I hope this at least informed you as to whether it will be part of your collection. Thank you, and enjoy the cards you have.